My CEO wife is holding a century wedding for me, yet the once poor scholarship student has become the new groom instead. On the day the company went public, news that my CEO wife was going to throw this grand wedding for me spread across the whole city. But just as we were sitting inside the wedding car, a call with no name popped up on her phone. I regret it. My always calm and composed wife suddenly had red-rimmed eyes. Panicking, she pushed me out of the wedding car. Honey, something's gone horribly wrong with the collaboration with the Rodriguez family. It's life or death for the company. We'll have to hold the wedding another time. The car sped away, kicking up dust. I looked at my own leg, now bloody and mangled, and gritting my teeth against the pain, flagged down a taxi. The collaboration with the Rodriguez family was something I had begged my parents to help my wife secure. If something had gone wrong, how could they not tell me? I wanted to see exactly what could be more important than our wedding. Main story. The wedding car sped ahead, and the taxi driver could barely keep up. But as I watched the increasingly familiar streets flash by, the doubt in my chest only deepened. The car stopped in front of the hotel where Zara and I had booked to hold our wedding. The moment I got out of the taxi, firecrackers exploded and laughter rippled through the air. Could it be someone else was getting married today? Suppressing the uneasiness in my chest, I followed the crowd inside. On stage, the bride and groom walked hand in hand to the reception platform, smiling brightly as they spoke. Thank you all for coming to our wedding. If there's anything we fail to do well enough, we hope for your understanding. The bride in the white wedding dress was unmistakably my wife, Zara. Then who was the man beside her? When the groom turned around, and I clearly saw his face, I froze in place. It felt like all the blood in my body solidified. How could it be? Leander? In a daze, I heard the guests around me sigh in admiration. I'm telling you, Zara's luck is unbelievable. The husband she kept hidden all these years turns out to be the young master of the Rodriguez group. Truly enviable. I heard they're lovers from school uniforms to wedding dress. Isn't this what it means to marry for love? So blessed. Since when did my Rodriguez family have another young master? Why didn't anyone notify me? Back in school, the only impression Zara had of Leander was that he was poor and shabby. If I hadn't pitted him and secretly sponsored him under the Rodriguez family's name, he wouldn't even have been able to afford school. Last year, when I heard he lost his job, I even kindly referred him into the company, hoping to help him one more time. I asked myself, I had already done more than enough. So I could not understand how Leander was suddenly standing at the wedding venue as my wife Zara's husband. Clenching my fists tightly, a crushing pain hammered through my chest. On stage, Zara was holding Leander's hand tightly as she confessed to him with affection. Yes, I'm truly fortunate and truly happy. I once promised him that when the company went public, I'd hold a grand wedding. And today, I finally fulfilled that promise. Applause and cheers erupted throughout the hall. My in-laws, who had always looked down on me, couldn't stop smiling. From now on, with the Rodriguez family as her backing, Zara's company will soar. I heard the collaboration is already set. Looks like young President Rodriguez just couldn't bear to let his wife struggle. Ha ha. Give them a kiss. Give them a kiss. Amid the excited cheers of the guests, Leander Rodriguez wrapped an arm around Zara's waist and, unable to restrain himself, kissed her. Only when Zara's face turned completely red did he finally let go. In the past, we kept our relationship private only because I didn't want people to think Zara's achievements were all thanks to my Rodriguez family. But as everyone said, I really can't bear to let her keep struggling. Zara smiled sweetly, picked up the microphone, and was about to say a few more loving words when she lifted her head and accidentally met my eyes. Instinctively, she pushed Leander away. The face that had been flushed with shyness instantly drained of all color. Alexia, Zara, how come nobody told me the groom was replaced? Eyes burning red, I walked onto the stage despite the pain, snatched the microphone, and threw it hard at her. So this is the company life or death emergency you talked about? The microphone hit the ground with a sharp screech. The banquet hall, noisy just moments ago, fell silent instantly. Zara didn't expect me to make a move. Her expression turned cold as she pointed at me and screamed, Alexia, how dare you put your hands on me? No sooner had she spoken than my mother-in-law rushed onto the stage and slapped me across the face. You shameless thing. Haven't you bothered my daughter long enough? My daughter and son-in-law are married. Can't you show some dignity and stay away? You think our family is easy to bully. My father-in-law called for security. If you don't get out now, I'll call the police. Zara is soft-hearted. But as her family, we will not let you cause trouble here anymore. The slap hit the side of my ear so hard that a piercing ringing filled my head. I knew my in-laws never liked me. But how did I, her legally wedded husband, suddenly become a clingy, pestering nuisance? So I looked at Zara and asked through a tightening throat. Call the police on who, Zara? We dated for 7 years and have been married for 3. Tell me, who exactly is the shameless one here? My words set off a wave of whispers among the crowd. Before Zara could respond, Leander stepped forward, shielding her, and shouted at me. Enough! Spreading baseless, slanderous rumors about a woman. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? If you have a problem, bring it to me. His aggressive, protective stance immediately drew countless cheers of admiration. Zara looked at him with worship in her eyes, showing a soft, delicate side I had never seen. Leander, you're so good. Pressed close to each other, they looked like they wanted to pour out their love right on the spot, completely forgetting I existed. With one arm wrapped around Zara, Leander shot me a faintly smug look. Alexia, my Rodriguez family has sponsored you for so many years, and who would have thought we'd end up raising an ungrateful wolf? You're young, healthy, fully capable. Why cling to a female CEO for a free ride? Becoming a mooch who lives off a woman without any shame. I had no idea whether Leander knew my true identity. But hearing him twist the truth so wildly, all I felt was absurdity, utter ridiculous absurdity. After hearing his words, the guilt in Zara's eyes completely vanished, replaced by open disgust as she scolded me. Have I not made myself clear enough? Since our school days, Leander and I have been in love. We promised we'd spend our entire lives together. Alexia, if you harass me again, you can forget about ever working in this industry. Her words immediately stirred a wave of derisive comments in the crowd. So he's just a kept man trying to latch onto a rich woman. Poor people really do lose their backbone. Who knows if he's ever gotten on his knees for money behind the scenes? Did he think our CEO Zara wouldn't mind something so dirty? Where are the security guards? Hurry up and drag him out. I don't want to catch something gross. Leander's face darkened, and he said nothing. Watching his expression grow darker, I let out a cold laugh. Leander, do you really think what they said is true? When you couldn't even afford meals in school, crying on your knees in front of the Rodriguez building begging for sponsorship, was that you or me? And after you lost your job, who begged me to help you find work? Now you're holding my wife and pretending to be a young master of the Rodriguez family. Do you really believe a nobody can suddenly turn into a phoenix? My words hit his weakest spot. Leander's eyes turned bloodshot, and he was on the verge of losing control. But before he could speak, someone grabbed my trouser leg and yanked hard, throwing me off the half-meter-high stage. My lower back slammed onto the ground. The pain was so sharp I could barely form words, nearly blacking out completely. Surrounding me were my colleagues, faces twisted with malice. You're a useless loser with zero performance. What qualifications do you have to help anyone get into the company? Every multi-million-dollar deal we've ever had was brought in thanks to President Rodriguez connections. Do you really think a few words from you can smear him? Wearing a knockoff suit, aren't you embarrassed? With people like this backing him? The arrogance returned to Leander's eyes. As long as I'm here, this company will never lack huge deals. You, who didn't even attend university and come from a poor background, where do you get your confidence? The mocking voices never stopped. I lay on the ground, pale and unable to move, and my wife stood there completely indifferent, as if I were a stranger. Zara, when you made me wait year after year, what vows did you swear to me? I coughed. I wanted to laugh, but my voice trembled badly. You said that all this waiting proved our love, that it could overcome everything. But right now, what are you doing? I saw Zara's fingertips twitch slightly, a brief flicker of emotion on her face. But the very next second, Leander took her hand. Zara, if he truly loved you, he'd want you to live a better life. Not ruin your happiness and future again and again like this. Zara's expression grew colder and colder, until finally, her frostbitten eyes held nothing but disappointment. A selfish person like you has no place in the company. Alexia, you're fired. Selfish. She actually had the nerve to call me selfish. I let out a hollow laugh. Those multi-million-dollar deals, Which one wasn't the result of me working day and night to create proposals and secure them? Zara, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, from startup to going public, how much effort have I given this company? But just as I finished speaking, Leander shot back. If not for the face of my Rodriguez family, do you really think your flawed, loophole-filled proposals could close any deals? Zara clearly believed him. She grabbed the mic and threw it at me in pure rage. Alexia, how dare you? The company got this big because of me and Leander. How dare you try to claim the credit? Kneel and apologize to Leander. She'd totally forgotten we were legally married. Right now, all she cared about was crushing my pride to make Leander look better. If Leander really was the young master of the Rodriguez family, then starting today, I'd probably lose everything. But, unfortunately for him, he wasn't. And I had planned to reveal my true identity to Zara at the wedding. Supporting myself on the steps, I stood up, giving Zara a cold, hard smile. Neil, are you really sure this guy calling himself Leander Rodriguez is the Rodriguez family's young master? If the family's heir is getting married, why isn't a single member here? And you say I'm spreading rumors. Can you prove we never had a marital relationship? My questions came sharp and clear. People around us started murmuring doubts. Yeah, I heard the Rodriguez young master is super cherished by his family. How come none of them showed up at his wedding? Is it possible Alexia is telling the truth? Look, his name's Alexia Rodriguez too. What if he's the real young master? Leander's face shifted drastically. Trying to stay calm, he barked, the Rodriguez family didn't come cause I didn't want it to be too high profile. But you didn't even have 4 yuan for lemonade and had to borrow from Zara. How could a Rodriguez heir be that broke? Zara totally bought it. Her eyes full of venom, she whipped out a red booklet and shoved it in my face. Open your eyes. Look whose names are on the marriage certificate. Leander and I have been legally married for 3 years. The certificate, Zara and Leander, stabbed my eyes like needles. No wonder she looked guilty when we registered the marriage. No wonder she avoided showing me that certificate. Years of obsession and feelings just collapsed. Everything I thought was real wasn't. My so-called wife never intended to marry me. The crowd pounced again. I knew it. Zara and the Rodriguez family. Perfect match. Who's this lunatic claiming ties? If you're crazy, get treated. Look at this scruffy mess. How could he be a Rodriguez heir? Kneel and apologize. Someone pinned me down, forcing me to kneel. Leander leaned close, curling his lips. Zara's already pregnant with my kid. You should be grateful I changed my mind today, or you'd be raising it for me. Rage exploded. I clenched my fist and smashed it straight into Leander's face. Arg! He screamed. I swung again, but an iron rod slammed my knee, and I collapsed. Alexia, you hurt Leander? You asked for this. Zara barked, face dark. Break his legs. I glared, struggling. I'm the real Rodriguez heir. Touch me and the family won't spare anyone. Laughter. Acting skills like that, you should hit showbiz. Better than scheming as a homewrecker, huh? The bodyguards raised rods over my knees. Stop moving. Stay still and take fewer hits. Bones shattering, I screamed. Zara sneered. You'll regret this. The Rodriguez family will never let you go. Leander held her in his arms. Wait for what, huh? You useless nobody from a poor background, already at death's door, still bragging? I've been merciful. You hurt Leander, so you only owe him 2 legs. The rods lifted again. Before they landed, a furious shout rang out. The Rodriguez heir. Who dares touch him? Clang. Bodyguards with military training burst in, kicking the rod aside. They blocked everyone from me. Zara spat. Alexia, you hired people to put on this show? Don't you feel like a clown? Leander snorted, still trying. A few bodyguards don't prove anything. Unless the head of the Rodriguez family shows up. What if I'm here? A voice boomed like thunder. My parents. Nose burning, eyes watering. My mother-in-law lit up, clearly misreading the scene. She rushed forward. Mr. Rodriguez, you must be here for Leander's. A bodyguard shoved her aside. Alexia, my mother's gaze landed on me, filled with heartbreak and fury. I must have looked horrific. Mangled, bloody leg, swollen face, groom's suit filthy. I'd never felt such humiliation. Everyone froze at the sound of my name. Mom, I tried to stand. She pushed me back. Injured and still acting tough? Sit. I'll handle this trash. Her icy gaze swept the hall. Who wanted to break my son's legs? No one answered. Zara went ghostly pale. Bodyguards who attacked me collapsed, trembling. We were just following orders. Drag them out. Break the same legs they touched on Alexia. Ignoring screams, she slapped my terrified mother-in-law across the face. The ring cut her cheek, blood gushing. She fainted. My father appeared before Zara and Leander, aura chilling. So this is the woman you stole the household registration for, ran away from home, just to secretly marry? I laughed bitterly, looking away. My parents had warned me about Zara, but I was stubborn, love-struck. You were stubborn. I planned to let you suffer until you regretted your choice. But we saw you working day and night, drinking till you hit the hospital, trying to win investors. How could we let you suffer? His tone softened, then crashed like a wave at Zara. For a fake heir, she pushed you from a wedding car, tried to break your legs, faked marriage, got pregnant with a bastard expecting the heir to raise it. Zara panicked, sweat pouring. Mr. Rodriguez. I was just angry. I never meant to. Heh. Father picked up an iron rod. Zara trembled, screaming, but he tossed it aside. You handle these two yourself. A Rodriguez child never swallows humiliation. I nodded, calm. Then let her go bankrupt. Every contract, investment, privilege I got her for my sake, I'll take back piece by piece. No. No. Zara collapsed, crawling. I was wrong. Alexia, please, one more chance. I repent. Tears, snot, banging her head. It was that bastard Leander who fooled me. He tricked me. She swung an iron rod at him. Leander, caught off guard, got bloodied. Bitch! He slapped her face, twisting it. You mistook me for the heir, shamelessly clinging. Insisted on having my kid, right? They tore into each other, screaming, clawing, while the guests watched, terrified and fawning. Where did Leander get the nerve to impersonate the heir? He looked petty and low-class from the start. With a husband like him, Zara still wasn't satisfied. She deserved everything. I frowned. Those voices were just flat-out annoying. So I said, deadpan, no emotion, shut up. Anyone who laid a hand on me or insulted me, the Rodriguez family won't spare a single one of you. Just like that, it was like everyone's throats got choked. The whole hall went dead silent. They wanted to beg, but were way too scared to even open their mouths and piss me off more. Everyone shook and shrank into the corners. With the hall cleared, Zara and Leander, still tangled up with each other, looked painfully obvious. Leander kicked Zara hard in the gut. Then he crawled over to me, desperate, trying to butter me up. Young master, I've already kicked that bastard kid out of her. Please, have mercy, spare my life. Leander, you deserve to die. I'll kill you. Kill you and Alexia will forgive me. Zara's legs were a bloody mess. Her screams raw and unbearable. Honey, save me. Please save me. We can redo the wedding. I'll make it even bigger than this one. I'll let the whole world know. She reached for me. I stepped back, supporting myself, face full of disgust. Filthy. Don't touch me. Boom. Those words smashed every last fantasy Zara was clinging to. She stared at me, desperate. I added slowly, word by word. Don't call me husband. That man over there is your legal spouse. And you got no future left. Someone rotten like you deserves nothing. I didn't even glance at them again. With my parents helping me, I got in the ambulance heading to the hospital. Luckily, though I looked messed up, it was all surface stuff. Not a single bone broken. Rested a bit, and I bounced back. Once I was healed, my parents had a long talk with me in the study, planning to slowly hand over the group's affairs. Looking at the silver in my dad's hair and the wrinkles at the corners of my mom's eyes, I took the responsibility seriously. Work got busier, and I almost forgot Zara existed. Until my assistant came in, looking complicated. A woman claiming to be your wife is stirring trouble online, wants to meet you. Have PR deal with it. Didn't even lift my eyes from the papers. Back when I was in the hospital, Zara's company had already tanked. I heard she pissed off the Rodriguez group, holding a pearl, treating a pebble like treasure. All her partners bolted overnight. Everyone was scared if they waited a second longer, they'd get dragged down with her when the Rodriguez family settled scores. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. Those employees who bullied me to cozy up to her? Yeah, they ran too. Zara had zilch left. Just like before we dated, she started with nothing. Back in school, her grades sucked and I tutored her, problem by problem. After graduation, she wanted to start a business. I used every penny I saved from part-time work, wrote plan after plan, lifted her up step by step. I thought even if my parents never accepted her, we could make a future ourselves. But I never imagined. Once she got to the top, she'd throw me down mercilessly. PR moved fast. Zara's accounts? Permanently banned. They subtly made it clear the real wife of the president was someone else. Online comments blew up. I knew it. How could that crazy woman be President Rodriguez's wife? Heard the future Mrs. President is surnamed Chan. Could be the young heiress of the Chan family. A perfect match of power families. Jealous. Ever since my parents stepped down, they spent all day trying to match me with daughters from respectable families. Afraid I'd still be hung up on Zara, huh? Serafina Chan was one of them. The best temper, best personality, parents' fave. Seeing the trending topic, I pinched my nose and called my mom. Mom, Serafina, and I got nada going on. How are you telling PR to say stuff like that? Then hurry up, make something happen. One line, and she hung up. I didn't want to use a new relationship to fix old wounds. Not fair to the next person. So I set a meeting with Serafina at a private club to explain my past. But before she showed, I saw Zara first. The CEO who never left home without designer brands, now in a ragged, loose t-shirt, haggard, exhausted, waiting outside the club. She must have figured out my schedule. A final glimmer of hope flashed in her eyes. Alexia, everything online is fake, right? That stuff about the president's wife. How could you fall for someone else? Why couldn't I? I brushed her hand away. Almost funny how clueless she was. But she didn't hear me, muttering like a lunatic, drowning in her own delusions. Because you love me. We were going to have a grand wedding. Then see the aurora in the Arctic, remember? I stepped back calmly. How could I remember something that never happened? Stop pretending to be crazy, Zara. Someone that selfish could never truly lose it. Her face froze. Facade shattered, last bit of pride stomped. She looked up, lips trembling, bloodshot eyes twisted, feral, desperate. Alexia, what do you want before you let me live? Must I die for you to be satisfied? Heh, live. I didn't even see Serafina arrive. She stepped out from the shadows, smile soft, but words sharp as razors. When you were yelling about breaking Alexia's legs, did you think about giving him a chance to live? If he wasn't the Rodriguez family's young master, just a normal guy, do you think he'd be standing here unharmed? She linked her arm with mine effortlessly. Honestly, you're giving yourself too much credit. From what I know, the Rodriguez family hadn't even moved, and your company was already toast. Under Zara's collapsing gaze, Serafina delivered the final blow. And the wedding? Don't bother. Alexia will plan a wedding bigger than anything before. Once full of ambition, ringing NASDAQ bells at her IPO, she now collapsed. Crying, disheveled, trying desperately to grab me. Don't marry. Please, don't. The baby's gone, forgive me. Just once, we loved each other for years, promised forever. I looked down at her, feeling nothing but disgust. Took Serafina's hand, made a promise. I guarantee a wedding that'll astonish the whole world. Coincidentally, my childhood friends arrived at the club and saw everything. They rushed over, hyped. Wow, since when did you two get together? And you hit it? We were already on the way to the hotel with red envelopes, and you bastards suddenly said the wedding was canceled. This time, don't ditch us. Spotting Zara, one clicked his tongue. Well, the ungrateful traitor Zara. I wanted to say it back then. A person who couldn't even write a decent proposal. What did you see in her? These people? Every last one of them used to be wealthy heirs. Because she got a few approving glances, she thought she could find someone better, someone she wouldn't be dragged down by Alexia, whose family wasn't rich. Zara froze. Then she forced out a smile uglier than crying and said, You all said my proposals were interesting. That's why you invested. And you hinted I deserved better, didn't you? You couldn't even recognize polite social niceties. My friends burst into laughter, almost doubling over. And my exact words were, Zara has potential. She must cherish the opportunity. Meaning, you should cherish Alexia. Everything here should have belonged to her. Zara stared at me, and Serafina with a twisted expression. That radiant fairy tale love, that enviable life, was supposed to be hers. She could have been the winner everyone admired. But she was blind and threw it away herself. Alexia, I was deceived. I'm a victim too. Why can't you forgive me? Her sobbing tore through the air. Her shamelessness truly exhausted me. So I let out a cold laugh and walked up to her. Zara, how on earth are you a victim? You shamelessly cheated, lied to me, tried to erase everything I did. How are you any different from Leander? Seeing Leander rushing over, I lifted my head and laughed freely. You two deserve each other. I'm so sorry, it's my fault. I failed to keep an eye on her and let her disturb you, Mr. Rodriguez. Leander bowed repeatedly, apologizing with clumsy eagerness. After that, he grabbed Zara roughly and practically dragged her out. Yes, this is all your fault. Zara screamed and struggled. You bastard. Let go of me. I still need to apologize to Alexia. He will forgive me. He definitely will. The two glared at each other with hatred. Not a trace of their former love remained. Only mutual loathing. Come on, let's go. My friends patted me on the shoulder, their eyes bright with mischief. Heard Uncle Rodriguez bought you a cruise ship. Aren't you taking us on board? Don't you dare forget your brothers just because you have a wife now. We're going tomorrow. I agreed helplessly. When I turned back, my gaze met Serafina's, her cheeks lightly flushed. Something flickered in my chest. I thought, perhaps I could finally let the past go. After that day, Zara disappeared entirely, leaving behind only a few sighs of pity. My parents would occasionally probe me, worried. I grit my teeth and rolled my eyes at them. You two really enjoy being hands-off bosses, don't you? Do you know how busy I am every day? And do I look like someone pathetic? Is Serafina not good enough? How sick would I have to be to still miss a rotten person like that? Only then were they relieved. And then they immediately began poking around about my progress with Serafina. We're doing great. Serafina was completely different from Zara. She had a rich inner world. She never needed to drain energy from me. When we were in the same room, we could quietly do our own things like old friends who didn't need many words. Just one glance, and we understood each other. On the day we announced the wedding date, my friends gathered at the club, gleefully gossiping about Zara. Guess what? A while ago, I went out to eat and saw that ungrateful traitor working as a waitress. What? She can't even get a proper job now. Heard she had a few at the beginning, but that fake young master went crazy, dragging her down every time he could. One job after another got ruined by him, and with her reputation spreading, no company wants her now. Someone asked me, curious, was that your doing? I shrugged, took a sip of wine, and kept silent with a faint smile. Anyone daring to impersonate me, the last person the Rodriguez family would spare was Leander. With the Rodriguez family issuing word, forget proper jobs, no one would even hire him as a waiter. With no income, he clung to Zara like a parasitic vine, trying to suck her dry. Zara wanted to get rid of him, but the legal marriage was like a curse, binding them together forever, inescapable. Of course, I intentionally targeted only Leander. Weren't they in love? Didn't Leander swear he didn't want Zara to suffer? I wanted to see whether Zara could endure the consequences of the choices she made. But I never expected Zara to sneak into the guest list on our wedding day and break into the banquet hall. Alexia. She stumbled toward me, waving a knife. Your bride can only be me. If I kill everyone standing in the way, you'll come back to me. Seeing her aim straight for Serafina, I stepped in front of Serafina almost instinctively. The next second, bodyguards surged forward and took Zara down on the spot. Pinned to the floor like a dead dog, Zara struggled in despair, watching me protect Serafina, carefully asking her softly if she was frightened. It wasn't supposed to be like this. How can you possibly love someone else? She finally looked as though she had woken up from her delusion. Laughing and crying like a madwoman, she suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, the wedding still ended perfectly in the end. When we were lying on the beaches of Hawaii enjoying our honeymoon, a trending headline suddenly popped up. Husband killer former CEO. How did she fall to becoming a murderer? Only then did I learn that on our wedding day, in her desperation and rage, Zara had stabbed Leander to death, hacked him into pieces, stored him in a freezer, then carried the knife and sneaked into the wedding. She hated Leander, and she hated Serafina. In her deranged logic, she believed that as long as she killed Serafina, we could still be together. What are you looking at? Serafina leaned over curiously. After reading the headline, she let out a long sigh. She really is the kind of person who never believes she's done anything wrong. Yes, Zara was exactly that type of person. Thankfully, I saw her true nature before it was too late, before she dragged me into hell with her. Thank you, Leander. Later, because the murder was intentional and caused severe public outrage, Zara was sentenced to life in prison. I heard she was bullied badly inside. All the guests the Rodriguez family had punished during the wedding hated Zara deeply and were doing everything they could to make her life in prison unbearable. She still wants to see me. I poked my son's chubby cheek, amused to the point of laughing out loud. My wife slapped my hand away, annoyed. Don't be so rough. Look, his face is turning red. Hee hee. I wrapped my arms around her waist, smiling with pure happiness. Well, if I can't poke him, I can poke you, right? Zara's situation faded from my mind quickly. She was just someone irrelevant now. I was far too busy to waste even a moment of my life on her. Who cares whether she lives or dies? All I know is, I'm happy now, and I'll only be happier in the future.